AP went nuts against us in the last game of the year. Had a pretty good year that year. Obviously, in 16, we made our run and led the league in passing touchdowns. Didn't really get a sniff for some reason that year.
Rodgers looking slim. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Lewis Riddick, Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karen Rose. Stephen A. will be with us in just a moment. I heard he's in his backyard sledding or building a snowman or something, but he's going to come in shortly. Lewis, good to have you with us. And let's start right with Aaron Rodgers. You heard him. He was saying he'd love to have his third MVP here. But with that being said, Max, there's this other guy in the AFC who has only one loss. You've heard of him, Patrick Mahomes. Who is the MVP right now between those two? Is it Rodgers or is it Mahomes?
Right now, if the MVP had to be handed out right now, it would have to go to Aaron Rodgers. And I've been on this show saying, I said before, the first time I saw Patrick Mahomes throw in the preseason, I came on the show and said, I'm going to tell my grandkids about this. It looked like Brett Favre with the arm talent, and except that he doesn't make the mistakes Favre makes. And then I went on to say, okay, this is the best quarterback I've ever seen. I thought Aaron Rodgers was, Mahomes is. Every year I think Mahomes is going to win the MVP. All those things are true. But I never thought Mahomes at his best is that much better than Aaron Rodgers at Rodgers' best. I thought if I had to choose, I'd take Mahomes by a hair, and it looked as though Rodgers was no longer at his best. I know he was in a new system. I get it with LaFleur, and they won 13 games, but he didn't look the same. He looked like more of a game manager. But it turns out now in the second year of the system, Aaron Rodgers is very comfortable, and he hasn't missed a beat, and he's having one of his greatest seasons. And though he has targets and he has a running game, and his defense seems like it's good enough, and he is protected behind the line of scrimmage, all those things are true. He does not have the embarrassment of riches on offense that Patrick Mahomes has. So at this moment, given the fact that Aaron Rodgers at this moment has more touchdowns, fewer interceptions than Mahomes, a higher QBR, a higher completion percentage, and yeah, he has two more losses because, again, he doesn't have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and like a million other receivers and backs, right? He's not on the highest flying offense of all time. There is not, as Bill James once said when comparing all-time great pitchers, there's not a dime's worth of difference between these two this season. But at this moment, my nickel goes to Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Max, you know what? We're going to take a quick break here. We're dealing with some technical difficulties with Lewis and Stephen A. We will come right back and we will revisit the subject. And I've got some questions about the Steelers coming up as well, plus plenty NBA. First Take just getting started. Don't go anywhere. It's a snowstorm. Bear with us, everybody.
Commercial free for the next 11 minutes until then. And let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. What a career he's had. He's won a Super Bowl, 2 MVPs, might win a third MVP this year. Where does he rank in the GOAT conversation? Earlier this week, when he was on with our buddy Pat McAfee, Rodgers shared his thoughts on that debate.
There's way too many people labeled the GOAT, or this guy's the GOAT of this guy's the GOAT of that. It used to be greatest of all time is one person. But now, because there's way too many GOATs, you have to break it out into specific categories. Best winner of all time, person who's won the most championship. Best player, most talented player, best thrower of the football. That's probably there's all these different ways you can break that out. When it comes to those, for most people, I'm probably in that conversation.
Fascinating. I mean, just fascinating. And, we talk a lot about psychoanalyzing him, and I'm going to remember something here. The last time I had a chance to interview the late, great Kobe Bryant, I asked him how he thinks about his place on the all-time list of greatness, and he said he never gives it a second thought, that was something that he had put behind him, and it made no difference to him what people said about him. Listen to the difference. Dominique, how about Aaron Rodgers being that attuned to the conversation?
Yeah. Well, I think Kobe had been retired for quite some time. I don't imagine that you catch Kobe in an honest moment while he is playing if you catch him saying the same thing. It seems like for these type of great top-tier, GOAT-type competitors, it's a mentality that it seems so many of them share. Not all that many of them are willing to share with us, though. So I appreciate that Aaron Rodgers seems to be willing to come out and say, no, he is great. He is greater than we give him credit for, and he thinks he's the MVP this year, and I think so, too.
It is reminiscent a little bit of the Michael Jordan that we came to know during The Last Dance last summer, Louis Riddick, as the way he obviously just hears every comment, the good ones and anything that might be a perceived slight. Aaron Rodgers is clearly, Louis, paying close attention to that.
Yeah, I think the only difference between Aaron and the other great, truly transcendent talents across all sports is he's telling you a little bit about it, and others don't. Maybe others don't really get the platform and or the chance to kind of talk about it the way Aaron has gotten the chance to talk about it recently. But all of these guys use slights as motivation. We're human beings. People don't like being doubted, especially when you have a track record and or a resume that says you shouldn't be doubted, that says you should be automatically considered amongst the greats in whatever field that you're in, especially when it comes to athletics, and especially when you're talking about football, which is one of those sports where it's one of the hardest sports to play from a physical perspective and mental perspective. So guys don't like being doubted. And like I said earlier, Aaron Rodgers is someone who we got a chance to talk to before Monday Night Football against Atlanta Falcons a couple months ago. And this guy is very much so aware of where he has been and where he is still going and what he still has left in the tank. And he is taking on all comers, man. Because right now he thinks he's got it all going on up there as far as the keys to this offense. I just love this part of him. I absolutely love it. I wish he would show us more of it.
You know what? The next 6 weeks, Shefty, could be extraordinary for his legacy. A third MVP and a second Super Bowl ring would do a lot in those conversations. I mean, we're the guys whose job it is to have those conversations. That would make a big difference.
Well, it would elevate him even more, but he's already at such a high level. Does he need any more of that? Again, legacies are built even more in the postseason. That's when the legends are made. But again, he's accomplished so much. You take a look at the numbers, where he ranks all time. He's up there, he's climbing, and I just think about the fact that the Packers drafted a quarterback in the first round last April, and it's almost as if he has taken that as a personal affront and a challenge and has responded this year. And when he gives that message that he just did, to me it's not so much what he says, but how he says it. He sounds like a man who's just oozing confidence, who believes that he's the best and going to be even capable of more accomplishments this postseason and in the seasons to come.
He is on right now the scorched earth tour that many of us thought he might be after the way the Packers handled that draft. And again, right now, they are the 1 seed in the NFC. Let's see if they can hang on to that. Meanwhile, let's look ahead to some other matchups this weekend. Do some either-ors here. And Louis, I'll start with you. Baker Mayfield or the Giants defense? Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield here. I think he has found the sweet spot within this offense with Kevin Stefanski, the play caller, and Alex Van Pelt, offensive coordinator there. I think he is just someone now who knows that he can beat you, with play action. That's something that he has proven to be very efficient with. But even when the team needs him most in terms of making off-schedule plays, making big plays down the field, maybe even picking up yardage with his feet, he showed last Monday night. He has got that in his arsenal, and he's going to continue to show it.
Neek, you're next up. Russell Wilson or the Washington defense? Who you got?
I got to go with Russell. I really like the way Washington's defense is playing. Obviously, it's all predicated on how good their front is playing so far. But I think Russell is shaping into playoff form as we get close to the end. He's going to get a lot of chances because as bad as their defense is, I don't think that the Washington football team is going to be able to put together much offense considering their quarterback situation.
Yeah, Alex Smith, as Shefty told us earlier today, not practicing. And then, Louis, back to you. Tua, his first matchup with Bill Belichick. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bill simply because of his track record and his ability to really assess young quarterbacks in particular and really try to make them play left-handed. I know we talk about this all the time, although with Tua, it'd be good to make him play right-handed, not left-handed, because you want to switch him up a little bit. But look, this is a guy who really gets inside the head of young players, and he has some of the best man coverage defenders in the NFL in his secondary. So I'm going to give Bill the benefit of the doubt and the nod on this one.
Listen, Bill Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks